everybody, today we're going to learn how to use Lightbox Plus Plugin with WordPress to show a gallery. So what I'm showing you here is the back end of a page where we have inserted a Lightbox Plus gallery. I will show you the front end of the website. Here it is, and if we were to click on this, we would get a gallery slideshow. People can scroll through and the images come up automatically sized to be larger after you click on the thumbnail. And then you'll notice that if we were to get to the, this is by the way an excerpt of a page using the Scribble child theme on the Genesis framework, but if we were to click into the actual page, we would have even more photos. And there is a break here, and I'm going to show you that as well. But basically, the way to get all of these connected into one single slideshow is a little bit finicky and a little tricky. If we were to just insert a gallery, a normal WordPress gallery, we wouldn't be able to split the page so that only 2 rows show up on the home page in the excerpt, and we wouldn't, basically as many photos as we wanted to add on the page would show up on the home page excerpt. So that's why we have to learn to group items in the Lightbox gallery. So to do that, I will show you how this has been done. First of all, we inserted a table using the Tiny MCE Advanced plugin. So it's here, but if I wanted to add another row, I could just click and it adds another row here for me to add more photos. Sometimes the row gets a little bit, it adds an extra space, and I'm also going to show you how to deal with that. It's a tricky, finicky little thing, but as long as you know what you're doing and how to spot the problems, you'll save yourself a lot of frustration. So hopefully I'm going to do that for you today. So the first thing to know is how to set up the table correctly. So here I am, I'm setting up another table. This would create an extra break. If you remember how here there's a separation, that's because this is all one table and this here is another table. This is the second table, and you can see that we have a second and third row where we could add photos. But let's say you wanted to group, this is a graphic designer's website, so let's say you wanted to group all the business card designs into a separate table and all of the website designs into another table. You're going to want to know how to create the tables and how to set up the settings properly. So you would click here for inserting a table, and you would select the columns. In this case, we need 6 columns because that's how many photos fit onto this page. And rows at 2 is fine. You can always insert more later. The alignment, you'd want to be center, unless you want it to be left or right. That really depends on your design. Where it says width, this is really important. You want to enter 100%. Oops. And then click Insert. Oh, I forgot to show you something. You see how there are these tiny little spaces in between the cells, and here there aren't really any spaces? That's because there's cell spacing and cell padding, and we need to get rid of that. So we can go back into here. That's another thing. You can edit a table after you've created it. Where it says cell padding, we're going to enter 0, and where it says cell spacing, we're going to enter another 0 and click Update. So even though it doesn't look proportional, that's because the photos haven't gone in to stretch these yet. So let's just practice entering in another photo. Let's say we go to the gallery. We've already uploaded these. I know that this is already on the page, but we're just going to pretend that we're creating it from fresh. We're going to want it to say thumbnail, but we want the link URL to be the file URL. This is really important. It shouldn't have anything extra behind it. So you'll see if I click medium here and then I go file URL, it'll, oops, attachment post. Oh, okay, it's not doing it. Normally it'll have a 300 by 214 at the end of the file name, but as long as you click on file URL and thumbnail, then you'll be okay. And so then you click insert into image. And then you see how it created this big, huge space. No need to worry. Now we just need to go to the second cell, which is now really tiny, and add the next photo. So I'll do that here. And let's do this one, thumbnail, and I'm clicking file URL to make sure it's going to that file, and I'm clicking insert into post. And then we just keep doing that until all the spacing is proportional. It will get proportional, not to worry about that. Now you'll see how obviously there's no space in between this table and the next table. So this is going to require a little bit of HTML knowledge, but the way that we can add a space, because sometimes pressing enter doesn't do the job, it's a finicky thing with using a WYSIWYG editor. It always has to translate what you're doing in this editor into HTML, and sometimes it doesn't know how to do that translation. So here we click on HTML, and you see where it says table here? This is the start of the table. And then if we were to scroll down here where it goes /table, that's where the first table ends. And this is the more tag. This is where the page breaks on the home page. But before that we have, this is called non-breaking space for paragraphs. So if I copy that and scroll till I see the next starting point of the next table, I see it right here. So this is where the second table ends. So I can click enter, and then I could either type out or copy and paste this piece of HTML code. So now when I go back to the visual, it has a space here because the HTML knows how to interpret a space better than when we click return or enter on our keyboard. So let's just say that I've already done all this. I don't really need this table right now, but I do need to show you how to group all of these together. So if I were to just add one of these, actually, let's just click update for a second. I want to show you what will happen here. You will see that the two photos that I just inserted with you, once I refresh this page, are not attached to the rest of this gallery because they're not grouped. So I can click on them and I'll get a light box. But if I go back, I'm only going to get two photos, just like that, because I only inserted those two. But then we have to say, or we have to ask, how did all of these get connected together, and why aren't they connecting? If I go this way, why don't they? Well, this is a bit tricky because the first photo is actually the same first photo as here, but what happens is this photo links back to this one. So the slideshow starts from here. This is image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes on to here, and then it loops back to here. But these two loop to each other. So what we need to do is get these two linked into this whole gallery up here in these two tables. So let's go to Edit Page, and I want to show you what's different about these. If I were to click after inserting the thumbnail, I come back and I click on this Edit button to edit the photo. Then I click on Advanced Settings, and if I scroll down, you see where it says Link Rel. We have told WordPress to make this a lightbox, and we have grouped it by putting this group name into square brackets. So if I wanted to create another group, for example, graphic designs of business cards, then I would group all of the next set of photos by renaming this. So let's just say, well, let's just copy this for a second, and let's just say that our next table, the one that we just created, is going to be the business cards section of the projects gallery, in this case for this graphic designer. So I'm going to click to edit the image. I'm going to go to Advanced Settings, and where it says Link Rel, I'm going to paste this code, but I'm going to replace the group name with business cards. This is just an example. The group name could be anything you want. It could be apples, bananas, whatever. So let's click Update, and then let's do that for this one. Edit, Advanced Settings, and I'm just going to copy this again because I had it already copied, business, and then I'm going to rename it to business cards, and I'm going to click Update. And now, of course, I'm going to update my page. This is the same as saving a file on your computer as you're working on it. You always want to click update. Then let's go back to the front end and refresh our page so that it grabs all the new changes. And this isn't going to be very much of an example, but actually, yeah, so now these two are grouped together. They're still not grouped to the rest of them, but let's just say we wanted to add an extra one. Let's group it. Let's just take this one, and I know I'm not going to group it so that you can see that even though it's in the same table, it hasn't been grouped to the Lightbox. I'm clicking update right now, and then I'm going to go back here. I'm going to refresh the page, and I'm going to click on my gallery. This is the first one, second one, but look at that, it goes back to the first one. So it's these are the only two that are linked. So this one, even though it can open up its own Lightbox, it'll just take a moment here, but there you go. It's not linked to anything. You can see there aren't even any arrows going back and forth. So let's say I change my mind and I want all of these 3 photos to be linked to the first gallery. I want them all to loop together. So I would go into here and click Edit, go to Advanced Settings, and I believe the name of the first group was Graphic Designs 1. There it is. And I'm going to copy it again. Click Update. Let's do this again. Advanced Settings. Graphic Designs 1. And then, of course, this has no group. This is just a standalone gallery. Link Rel. Update. I'm going to update the page. And let's go to the front end of the website. And let's start at the end. And let's try to go to the new one. You see how it goes to it's gone back to the beginning of the gallery that we grouped together called Graphic Designs 1, instead of being part of the business cards grouping or just a standalone grouping. It's all together now. Of course, there are duplicates in this gallery. That's why you're seeing some duplicates, but that's what's happened here. So that would be a lesson on how to get these to link together properly and how to separate them. There are some finicky things to deal with though when you're inserting some of these photos into the tables, and that is sometimes they leave a space. You see how when I clicked here or click here, it doesn't actually go to the very edge of the box. But I'm going to click my arrow on my keyboard to make it go all the way to the edge. That's where you want your cursor to be when you are actually clicking here to upload and insert a thumbnail. Otherwise, it's going to add a very strange space and it's going to mess up the home page, or not the home page, but the front end of your website. So like if I go here and, for example, insert this one again, it fits perfectly. But if I leave that space in, it may or may not work. It's, like I said, it's finicky. It's one of those things that computers do only when you wish that they wouldn't. There you go. You see how it left a space here? And then what I would need to do to get rid of that space is I could press delete, but sometimes it deletes the entire photo. So I'm just now doing a Command Z on my Mac, and then sometimes I have to try again and then use my arrows to go back, and it gets really, really hard. And then I could, to try to find this in the HTML, just so I can find it, I'm going to enter 1, 2, 3, and then go to the HTML and do a Control or Command F and type in 1, 2, 3 so that I can find out that this is where it is. So I can delete this, but there is a space. You see this here? That's what's causing the space, and it's so hard to get rid of it if your cursor is in the wrong place when you're entering in the photo thumbnail. So if I deleted that and went back to visual, there you go, it fits perfectly into the box. So that it is a little tricky, but you do get used to it. See, I just clicked anywhere in here and it automatically gives it a space, so I'm going to go use my arrow and bring the cursor back so that it fits in perfectly. Now if I want to delete these, because obviously these are duplicates, it's kind of hard to delete a table in WordPress. I mean, we can delete all the photos, of course, but then your table is still going to be there. So we can go into the HTML, scroll to the very bottom because we know that that's where the table is. This is the ending of the table where it says /table, and then I'm going to scroll up to where it begins. Here it is. This is where table starts, and I'm just going to delete. I can leave the space there at the end. Remember this one. And go to visual, and our table is gone. So your code is nice and clean. And now I'm going to click update. And reload, and of course we added 2 more photos to our first grouping gallery, and we don't want those there, so all we have to do is go back and click on them and click on delete, and then click update. That's how you use Lightbox Plus to separate your galleries on a single post. Hope that was helpful. Thanks. Bye.